Q. What is callback hell in JavaScript? A. Callback hell is a situation that occurs when multiple levels of nested callbacks are used, making the code difficult to read and maintain. Q. How can callback hell mitigated? Using named functions instead of anonymous functions for callbacks. Using promises or async/await for handling asynchronous operations. Using libraries or patterns that provide better control flow async.js. Q. What are the differences between null and undefined in JavaScript? A null represents the intentional absence of any object value. It is a primitive value that indicates no value or no object exists. Undefined indicates that a variable has been declared but has not been assigned a value. It is also a primitive value, and it is the default value of a variable if no value has been assigned to it. Q. What is hoisting in JavaScript? A. Hoisting is a mechanism in JavaScript where variable declarations and function declarations are moved to the top of their containing scope during the compilation phase, before the code is executed. This allows you to use variables or functions before they are declared in your code. However, only the declarations are hoisted, not the initializations. Q. What is the difference between equals and equals operators in JavaScript? A:== is the equality operator in JavaScript that performs type coercion, meaning it converts the operands to the same type before making the comparison. For example, it would convert a string to a number if one of the operands is a string and the other is a number. Is the strict equality operator in JavaScript that does not perform type coercion, and it requires both the value and the type of the operands to be the same for the comparison to be true. Q. What is event delegation in JavaScript? A. Event delegation is a technique in JavaScript where you attach an event listener to a parent element instead of attaching it to multiple child elements. When an event occurs on a child element, the event bubbles up to the parent element, and the event listener on the parent element can handle the event. This can help reduce the number of event listeners and improve performance, especially when dealing with dynamically generated elements. Q. What is a closure in JavaScript? A closure is a function that retains access to variables from its outer, enclosing, scope even after the outer function has completed execution. This allows the inner function to remember the values of those variables, even when called later from a different scope. Closures are commonly used for encapsulation, privacy, and creating function factories. Q. What is the this keyword in JavaScript and how does it work? A. The this keyword in JavaScript refers to the object that is currently executing the code. Its value is determined at runtime and depends on how a function is called or how an object is accessed. The value of this can be the global object, for example, window object in browsers, in non-strict mode, or undefined in strict mode, when used in a function that is not a method of an object. The object that the method belongs to, when used in a method of an object. The object that is being constructed, when used in a constructor function with the new keyword. The object that is explicitly set using call, apply, or bind methods. Q. What is the purpose of the bind method in JavaScript? A. Bind method in JavaScript is used to create a new function, when invoked, has a specific value for this, and provided arguments are prepended to arguments passed to new function when invoked. It is commonly used for setting the value of this in event handlers, callback functions, or when passing functions as arguments to other functions. Q. What is the difference between let and const in JavaScript for constant variables? A. Let and const are both used for declaring variables with block scope, but there are some differences when it comes to constant variables. Let variables can be reassigned, while const variables cannot be reassigned after they are initialized. Let variables can be declared without being initialized, while const variables must be initialized at the time of declaration. Const variables must be assigned a value when declared and cannot be left uninitialized. Q. What is the purpose of the spread operator in JavaScript? A. The spread operator in JavaScript is denoted by 3 dots, and is used to unpack elements from arrays, objects, or iterables. It can be used in various ways, such as to create a shallow copy of an array or object, to merge arrays or objects, to pass an array of arguments to a function, to create a new array or object with additional elements or properties. Q. What are arrow functions in JavaScript and how do they differ from regular functions? A. Arrow functions are a shorter syntax for defining functions in JavaScript introduced in ECMAScript 6, S6. They have some key differences compared to regular functions. Arrow functions do not bind their own this value. Instead, they inherit the this value from the surrounding scope in which they are defined. Arrow functions do not have their own arguments object. Instead, they inherit the arguments object from the surrounding scope in which they are defined. Arrow functions do not have a prototype property and cannot be used as constructors. Arrow functions cannot be used as generator functions with the yield keyword. Arrow functions have a concise syntax with implicit return, which makes them useful for writing shorter and more readable code. Q. What is a callback function in JavaScript? A. A callback function is a function that is passed as an argument to another function and is intended to be invoked at a later time, often asynchronously, when a certain condition or event occurs.